All right, part 2. We're going to take up where we left off in part 1. I'll show you how to add the top of the hat and how to make a slightly angled fezzy shape if you like, and an optional tassel. Check the description for links to part 1, my blog post, and a full pattern in my Etsy store. Just for fun, I'm using tall cans this time and playing around with colors a little bit more. Of course, you use whatever you have on hand. I just want to show you lots of possibilities. So while this is playing, I want to talk for a minute about, I guess I'll call it the deeper meaning of these beer can hat tutorials. Now, I keep mentioning making these hats at parties because, as I talked about in my little promo video, that's how I started making them, as kind of an artsy party trick in college. And every single time, I'm not kidding, the reaction was of pure wonder and amazement from art students and grannies alike. You show up with some beers and spend the evening crocheting a hat for the host, and you will definitely be the hero of the party, guaranteed. But more than that, I have a vision of a whole new wave of crocheters making this a thing. The deeper purpose here is to show everyone else how fucking cool crochet can be. Now, we know that textiles in general get kind of a bad rap in art and in life. Granny stuff, not artsy-fartsy enough, or whatever. Now, I challenge you to spread the fun and funk of live party crocheting with beer, okay? Show the mundanes what cool crochet is all about, man, while also personally winning that party for sure. Epic craft nerd status confirmed. So let it be done. Amen. Okay, now that we're done with part 1, you should have the can labels all crocheted together and the edges finished. Since my sample here is going to be a fez, I'm leaving the top edge unfinished for now, and you'll see why in a minute. So to start crocheting the top, we're going to start with a chain 4 ring, and into the ring work 12 double crochets. What we're going to do is alternate each round with single crochets and doubles. So for round 2, work 2 single crochets into each stitch. For the next 3 rounds, we'll be increasing, that's 2 stitches in the same spot. For each round, we add another stitch between the increase. So round 3 is doubles with 1 stitch between the increases. Round 4 is going to be single crochet with 2 stitches between increases. A good way to check that you're on the right track is that you will always be doing your increases into the left stitch of the previous row's increases. I call it the top of the V, but so it's like top left of the V from the previous row. And round 5 is doubles with 3 stitches between increases. So again, we come to a choose your own beer can adventure moment here. If you want the regular straight hat shape that'll fit perfectly on the crown from part 1, then you're going to continue as we've been going for 2 more rounds. So round 6 will be singles with 4 stitches between, and round 7 is doubles with 5 stitches between increases. And then you can just tie it off. Then move on to the joining part. If you want a slightly angled, more fezzy shape, you can move on to the fezzy shape section. You know, it was not my intention for this to look like a big eyeball, but you know, now you can't unsee it, can you? I am looking at you. So for the more fezzier shape, Work round 6 in doubles with 4 stitches between increases, and then tie it off. For this shape, you also need to take in the crown a little bit on the top edge, which I will cover in a moment. Okay, so to take in the crown a little on the top edge, like I said, for the fez, we're gonna decrease twice at the seam corners. So 2 stitches on one side of the seam and 2 stitches on the other side of the seam. You can work a single crochet 2 together as your decrease. Now, if you already did the singles around the top edge for the crown and you don't want to tear them out, you can just work a second round of singles and then decrease the way I described in that general area, and that'll work fine. Okay, time to join the top to the crown. This is going to be the same whichever shape you chose. So you want the labels facing you and start anywhere on the top edge. Match up the stitches with the top and work single crochets through both layers all the way around and tie it off. All right, now that I have my eyeball top finished, it's time to choose again. If you're ready to add a brim and learn a faster construction method, you can move on to part 3, the cap. But if you want to finish up your fez with a nice bottom band and a snazzy grand poobah tassel, I'm going to cover that right now. So this part is kind of optional, but I think it looks and fits better with the small band on the bottom edge. Do this by working a round of double crochet and then a round of singles and tie it off. See, it's way better. All right, tassel time. So find a small hardcover book that is the width of your finished tassel, or else you can also fold a piece of cardboard in half. Wrap the yarn around the book 20-25 times. Here I did 5 wraps for each of my 4 colors. It's easier with one color, obviously. Now carefully cut the yarns in the gap of the book cover or cardboard. With a separate length of yarn, tie the folded yarns tightly in the center. Now take another length of yarn, tie one end about an inch below the first tie, then tuck the little end into the yarns. Wrap it tightly around the tassel for about a half an inch or so, and then tie it to itself tightly. Now use a yarn needle or a crochet hook to pull the yarn end under the wrapping, and then trim the ends if needed. Now tie it to the center of your top, leaving some length to dangle properly, and you're totally ready for your beer lodge meeting. Alright, I think it's looking pretty darn good. But wait, there's more coming in part 3, the cap, and I'll see you there.